the director.
Let's give us an introduction.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. What the fuck are you eating?
Let him go. Hey.
From his pocket.
Gavin, on track.
Sorry. Welcome back, everyone. While Joe here is eating candy, you bastard, we're going to be diving into our next fight, which is Raiden versus Thor. Oh, man. Jordan changed the picture back. I like the Raiden that was up there. Yes, he did. It was
I have
fantastic.
been debating him with this all fucking week. Alright, you know what? Who's the higher seed?
Thor is.
Alright, Jordan, heads or tails? We're using the app here.
Oh, God.
I'm going to take a wild guess and go heads.
It is...
Heads!
Huzzah.
Jordan, first or second?
You know what? I'll go first.
All right.
Ladies first, after all.
Whenever you're ready.
Thor would hardly be considered lady. Well, actually, Thor canonically...
Stop.
Drop. Shut him down. Open up shop. Where do you go?
All right. I have Thor Odinson, the son of Odin, the Norse god. He is the immortal electric god who is controls the power of his hammer Mjolnir. He has complete control over electricity in all of its forms, can use it to actually enhance himself, and makes some form of electric armor, actually, that also enables him to fly. He has immeasurable strength and can basically withstand any kind of beating. He can get stabbed by a sword and still move. He can summon lightning storms around him. He is essentially invulnerable, as I said. And I think that he is the god of thunder for a reason, and he is a supreme badass. I rest my case.
I would have died a little if you came up with my
Yeah, watch out, Sean.
I know.
What do you think about this, Jordan?
Okay.
Yeah.
Duel.
There's a god of war all over.
I am so nervous because Andrew moves his arm.
Not only that, he's also out of breath.
You wanted an eye patch, motherfucker? Someone's getting an eye patch.
Sean, you can come closer over here.
Will do. Good, I want to go over to a little bit longer. Okay, alright.
Whenever you're ready, Andrew.
So, Raiden. He was a super sacred spy, super great spy. Rivaled Snake, was trained by Snake. That's not the one I'm picking, though, here. I'm picking the one from Metal Gear Revengeance Rising. At this point, Raiden has become a cyborg. In his cyborg form, he has superhuman strength, speed, and endurance. He is pretty much unkillable in that you have to pound him to basically nothingness. He can remove his own limbs and use those as weapons or use those to escape. He can use them as clubs, and then he can attach them back on. His main weapon is his sword. Now, in this game, his sword is... I don't know how to describe it. Basically a super sword. His sword is designed to overheat, almost become a lightsaber, so he can actually chop other cyborgs, Metal Gear robots, humans, all sorts of beings in that universe to pieces. He doesn't need a gun or anything to kill them because his sword is capable of just chopping everyone to bits. He is so fast that not even the Metal Gear robots' automatic aiming systems and tracking systems and homing missiles can catch him. Normal soldiers had incredible difficulty shooting him because he moves at the blink of an eye. Again, he is virtually indestructible. His body's basically all steel with artificial muscle fibers. One of the things that I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Okay, yeah. So, since his body is so durable, he can take on elemental attacks such as electricity, lightning, thunder, and fire, and it does him no harm, and he can actually redirect them through his body parts, through his fingertips, and through his sword. So, essentially, he can hit like a power converter or a power box, and instead of being harmed, he just sends the shockwaves elsewhere. Bullets essentially just bounce off of him because of his body. That's if you can even land a shot. And when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, he is so fast and strong, he just overwhelms everyone, including the newest version of Gray Fox Ninja and all of the new Metal Gear robots and cyborgs in the game. And with that, I will yield my time. I will put my sword away for the rebuttals. Thank you.
Very symbolic.
Alright, I'll start the rebuttals. So just look at these two pictures. He is a fat sack of wine. The only thing he's winning is a chug off at a fucking frat house. Alright, this guy's man boobs are the size of Raiden's heads. Alright, he can't do anything. He's a slug. I can smell his gout through the computer. Okay? Look at this guy. He can't move. He can't do anything. Look how shaggy his hair is. He hasn't bathed in decades. You know why? Because he can't fit in a fucking shower. If he goes into the lake, all the water just pushes out. See that gut? That belt can't hide. He hasn't seen his dick in centuries. He doesn't even know what he has down there at this point. Alright, he has been mutilated, and he can't even tell. Do you know what this guy's diet consists of?
Pray tell.
Alright, let me tell you, Joe. Taco Bell. You don't get to be this big without eating God of War's era Taco Bell. And you know what?
Probably do, honestly.
All he does is he just chugs burritos like a giant horse cock, just like this, right down the gullet. All the Diablo sauce goes straight in. You should see his fucking toilet. Shit specks everywhere.
Oh, God.
Actually, I don't even know if he can fit on a toilet. You know, he's probably just shitting on the walls. And he's got this hammer. He's got Mjolnir, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he can probably wield it. He can probably throw it.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, Mjolnir can come back because he's not running off to get Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm.
Look, he probably runs at like 0.20 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
He's barely walking. He's out of breath just from getting pulled up on the computer screen. All right. This is not a warrior. This is somebody's fat grandfather talking about how they were the shit back in Vietnam. That's what this is. Case over.
I would argue that Thor, he might drink a lot. However, he is still the god of thunder and is more than capable of beating Raiden's puny little ass to bits while drunk because he is immortal and can literally do no bad. And he doesn't need to know where his dick is because his hot wife Sif can find it for him.
Ooh.
I'd also like to point out that Raiden is a puny little bitch.
All right. What are these?
Who may or may not have no penis at all.
What? All right.
Ooh,
He brought it up before I would.
All right.
Clearly, it is. He takes nothing seriously because look at that hat. There's nothing to fight there because what point would be to fight nothing? That can't do anything. Raiden may have a sword, as we've established. Swords do nothing against that. If you've seen that muscle of Thor, he might be fat, but that is entirely muscle. Nothing will hurt him. That is the epitome of superhuman strength right there. He is one of the only gods to ever defeat Kratos in battle and kill him, and then brought him back to life just to spite him again.
That was actually my question, so thank you for reminding me.
So obviously Raiden would be killed instantly because he has any electric powers he tries to throw at Thor would just be deflected and sent back to him through his electric hammer, and then he would just bring Raiden back to life to continue battling him to bits. There'd be nothing left. He is just a metal cyborg that would be bits and pieces of nothing. Because this is a blacksmithing hammer. As we all know, blacksmithing hammers are used to shape metal. And what is Raiden but metal, which should be shaped by Thor's hammer. And also look at him. Look at Raiden. There's nothing there. It's useless.
Alright. We're moving on to
If this was a cheeseburger eating contest, Thor would win. But
Yeah.
Thor has more belly button lint than Raiden has hair on his head. All right, let's calm down for that.
Holy shit.
So, I think we're ready for questions, and I have one for each. First and foremost, if we're going off of images, is Raiden more than just a 3/4 bust?
Yes.
Okay. And then my question for Jordan. As
Yes.
I said, I haven't played God of War Ragnarok. In this, is Thor a full god? Is he a demigod? What's kind of his status?
Thor is a full god.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
I will say, you cannot kill him. You fight him. The reason Thor dies is because his own father betrays him and kills him. So Odin is arguably the more powerful god because he is the All Father. So Kratos is not actually able to kill Odin or Thor.
That was one of my questions, so thank you.
Same here. I was going to ask, what actually kills Thor in the context of game?
Anthony Hopkins.
Odin dissolves him because Thor decides to do the right thing and protect. I don't want to get too spoilery. I realize,
But it's not Kratos with stabbing him with a blade.
No.
It's something. Okay.
It's Odin.
It's Odin just choosing to end Thor's existence.
yes, and it is. This does take place during Ragnarok itself, so the end of the apocalypse. So it is foretold in a degree,
Huh. Okay.
which I feel would not be a relevant factor in this battle because this is not the apocalypse.
Right. How fast is Thor?
That's related to my question. How agile is he?
I can tell you. The second, so I scroll fast.
He moves at Mach 75.
So I would say Thor is very fast. He has the ability of flight, so he can move extremely quickly. It says, despite his massive size and overweight body, Thor has proven to be able to move extremely fast speeds with stupendous reflexes, able to evenly match Kratos in direct combat and repeatedly catch Kratos off guard, to physically manhandle him as well as easily avoid Kratos' attack. So, and Kratos, as we all know, maybe not, is also the god of war, and with a very agile attacking style. And for Thor to easily deflect and avoid he is massively fast.
How? Okay. That's is there any for Raiden? Is there anything that's known to defeat him? Does he get defeated in the game at all?
No.
Is there
So in the whole game series, he's never defeated.
Uh-huh.
As a human, he defeats Solidus Snake, and then because of his peak performance as a human, they choose him for the cyborg program, and he's upgraded. The one time he is in danger, he's outmanned. I think it's one of the last couple Metal Gear games, and he actually that's one of the times when he pulls off his arms, and he throws those at some of the guards, but then he literally just kills them with kung fu kicks because he's so fast. His only weakness, I guess, would be maybe drowning. Yeah, I would assume he's a little heavy to Swim?
To what extent is Raiden a cyborg? Like, what parts of him are biological and what parts are mechanical?
Basically, everything outside of his head is artificial.
Okay.
He's got steel, artificial fibers throughout the rest of his body.
So, if I can interject here, I do have a question for Andrew about Raiden, but related to that flesh and thing like that, because Jordan's taunting about the size of his dick, I did officially look up the Rule 34 for both characters.
Uh-oh.
Thor, in almost all of the art, is a top that tops Kratos.
Ooh.
And Raiden is almost exclusively always being bottomed.
He's
So
power bottom.
he's no, not a power
Yeah, he's
bottom.
power bottom.
He is getting railed by so many characters. As far as dick size is concerned, Thor's is always depicted as this big, thick, like whole like Gatorade bottle thickness, fucking meaty. And Raiden is more of the like sissy little.
I'm glad we got this figured out.
I'd like to point out that Alex look up porn while we're doing this.
I always
So,
will. If it comes down to a question of
You know,
this.
one comment I will make about that is it does show that Raiden has a higher pain intolerance.
Yes,
than
I will say
Thor
he does have a higher pain tolerance. But so my question, truly, the real question of this is, Andrew, what is Raiden's energy source that powers his cybernetic cyborg body?
Good question.
That's my real question.
Apparently, it's sissy power.
I wanted more
I
than
can't-
Rule 34. I want to get the actual real answer to this.
Well, Andrew looks that up. I can't believe we've come here, of all places.
Oh, I come
But-
everywhere.
Oh, Christ, I walked into that.
Yes, you did. Anyway,
Shouldn't have
continue.
said it. Also, apparently, this answers one of my questions, which was, does Raiden have a dick at all? And it seems like technically,
I guess if you count Rule 34 fan art, yes. And
And
it's a human dick. It's not a
it's
cyborg dick.
I was a follow-up
No,
question.
it is fleshy. It has like a little like cybernetic implant piece on it, but it's not like the whole thing.
Feels like an improvisation of the Rule 34 artists. I feel like that's not what Hideo Kojima would have.
I don't know. That man does
Decided.
some weird things.
I feel like if the rest of Raiden is
Okay, let's be real here. Hideo Kojima does definitely know what Raiden's dick looks like.
Yes, 100%.
Like,
That's
he's thought of that. He just hasn't put it anywhere, but he's definitely thought of that.
He started out with the dick and then made the character
Yeah.
around the dick.
that is definitely a Kojima thing to do. That's why I'm like, let's not dive into that, Joe.
So he doesn't have a power source.
it's not stated.
No, he in the games it never came up. And reading through his wiki here, it doesn't mention any sort of power source. He just keeps going.
He just is.
It's like a RoboCop.
RoboCop, maybe like a Terminator.
His internal organs are what powers him.
Has
We know they're well lubed, so
Well, very well duped.
If it helps, I know I mentioned like Alex kind of brought up like Diddy Kong was gonna be one of his questions. As far as speed is concerned, fighter jet bullets, helicopter blades all appear in slow motion to Raiden because he is so fast, and he's able. There's a part where a helicopter shoots, I believe it's hammerhead missiles at him, and he is fast enough to use the missiles as stairs to walk up to the helicopter and destroy it. And I believe those missiles fly at about Mach 2.
this is like Flash levels of speed.
Like I don't think that's Lanky Kong's speed.
But it's pretty damn fast. Okay.
I have a question. Is Thor ever shown being not in this incarnation? Ever shown being damaged by a bladed weapon of any kind?
In the beginning of the game, he takes a slash to his stomach from being stabbed by Kratos' Blade of Chaos. However, it does very little to him. Basically, just it's a flesh wound.
Does it like insta heal?
It never really heals throughout the game. The scar is there, but it never affects him in any way.
Is there any limit to the electrical energy that Thor can summon?
Do you mean like can you only take so much, or?
Yeah, like is it ever shown that like after a certain point he can't control it or he can't summon more or
No,
Yes.
that's
No.
never. He's never shown any kind of limit for that.
What that was.
All right.
saw the
I mean-
dogs and I'm like, is this Hangman?
that's all my questions.
I have some questions.
Go ahead. Feel free to ask.
All right. First question for Andrew. Is Raiden ever shown to have any kind of limit to the electricity that he can intake to redirect?
He's never shown taking any damage from it, and it doesn't show ever any a time where he's like overloaded.
What is follow-up question? What is the most that he's seen getting hit with, like electrical stuff, or what's the most he's seen redirected? Like, even a little bit of context. Does he special power main? Does he get hit by lightning? Something we can kind of picture.
Trying to think how to quantify it. So like he can punch like into power mains and use all of the power like in the grid. But there is one of the robots in the game, one of the Metal Gear robots that he faces.
Mhm.
It shoots lightning as a weapon, like electric bursts, and he's shown taking it to the chest,
Mhm.
and then just he redirects it into the soldiers around it to kill them all. And every time he takes it, he's able to just redirect it back to whoever.
Okay.
Or, like I said, he can put it into a sword if he wants to chop people up electrically. I do like the visual of Thor shooting him and then him shooting Thor right back, and the two of them just standing there forever.
Yeah,
Bing, 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 bing.
I thought this was going to come down to an electrical thing. It sounds like
The Emperor.
So I have a question for Jordan.
Yeah.
Is Thor's strength like in any way like does he get stronger when he like is using the lightning, or is that not really shown any correlation?
I wouldn't say he gets stronger because he's kind of like peak power. So like it's not that like it more like enhances his abilities. So as opposed to like being like an upper limit to like he gets like the power like gets into him and he like uses that as like a level up type of thing. It's more of like just an ability of his that is equally powerful. If that makes sense. I wouldn't yeah.
And then Andrew, is there ever a time that Raiden is shown? I guess because is there ever a time that Raiden is shown to beat somebody who like had any like a human person who had any kind of superpowers?
So in the game, all of the bosses that he fights are like different and stronger cyborgs that, compared to humans, are like god level bad guys. One of the reasons he was picked to be in this program was at the beginning of the game. You're shown, you already kind of know it, but like at the beginning of the game, you're showing him beating Solidus Snake, as I said. And Solidus Snake is kind of like a superhuman in that he has superhuman speed and superhuman strength. He was able to dodge machine gun fire and deflect it back off. And Raiden was able to beat him hand to hand before his upgrades. Other than that, it's just other like superhuman and stronger cyborgs as he goes on.
Is it fair to say that
And the Metal Gear robots.
Is it fair to say that in the Metal Gear universe, in Raiden's universe, that all of his opponents are like technologically powered? There's no like supernatural stuff, and even like the enhanced biological humans are kind of like Captain America advanced, where they're advanced through some type of technology, like chemical or something. They're not supernatural.
Pretty much the only supernatural character, as far as I can remember, was in Metal Gear Solid 1 before Raiden was part of the series. And there was a psychic sniper. And that was really the only supernatural person. Everyone else has been either modified or enhanced.
And Raiden has never been shown to go against that psychic sniper.
She was killed long ago. She was shot in the head.
Should have seen that one coming.
I actually have a question for Andrew, if that's allowed.
I will allow it.
As someone who's not played Metal Gear, and obviously I know player character, not NPC type is different. How I'm assuming you can die as Raiden, right?
Yes.
How does Raiden die?
It's when his body is basically beaten to a pulp to the point where his head can no longer continue, and like if his like I said, there's no like power source, so like maybe there's like a heart in there. If you destroy him down to the point where like his head no longer works or whatever's in there no longer works, he can die.
So sustained damage will eventually wear him down to nothing.
Yeah, it'd be basically pummeling him out, wearing out his durability, which there's nothing that says like how long that would take, but yeah, that'd probably be a way to kill him.
I do have one more question for Jordan, by the way.
Yeah.
Is it ever specified that like only X thing can kill Thor? Or does it just happen that Odin kills him?
I will say him dying is a very specific set of circumstances.
Well, just from my knowledge of the God of War series, the words unkillable and God don't necessarily belong in the same sentence ever.
I will say Kratos legitimately tried to kill Thor in the beginning, was unable to, and then later fought Thor again, where Thor was going all out to try to kill Kratos, and Kratos was unable to actually stop him, physically kill him. So I would say he is probably one of the only gods not shown actually dying by Kratos' hand, or other than his own father being able to kill him.
Okay. But they don't specify, like, there isn't, like, he is, like, it's not like Kratos is, like, on a quest to find a way to kill him or anything like that. It's just he's very strong.
I'd say it's more of Kratos probably had a contingency plan to kill him if need be, but never actually had to.
Okay.
So it's never specified if he could die. But I think
it was more that he was just very strong, as opposed to, like, there was some, like, with Baldur in the first game where, like, he couldn't be killed. It's more of, like, he was just, like, how are you going to type of deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My only follow-up question for Andrew is one of the things with Raiden. I know we said that he does have cybernetic enhancements. In-game, when you are hurt, do you regain health, or do you have to get health pickups?
He automatically regenerates health.
All right, so he does have a bit of regeneration back there.
Yeah.
All right, I was just curious about that.
So I have one final question, and it's for Jordan.
Yeah.
The last two.
You said control over electricity
Yes.
for Thor. What exactly does that entail?
Thor has absolute control over electricity and lightning, with it being an innate power inherited by his sons. Thor's electrokinetic powers have been shown to far surpass theirs. He can throw bolts of lightning, constantly rain down. He can imbue Mjolnir with lightning. He can cast waves like lightning, and he can manipulate it to cause lightning strikes. And he also can infuse it into himself as a form of armor, and that can make him very fast and increase his durability, I guess.
Before we vote, I have something I want to say to Jordan, but does anyone have any other questions before I tell him?
I have one follow-up to Ryan real quick. It says, as with all gods, Thor is immortal, cannot die. Only opponents that wield similar strength and power to himself would be capable of harming or even killing him. So, I don't know, take that as we will.
Once again, I feel like cannot die in the God of War universe is like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge type of deal.
I would say you can't die to like 99.9% of the world.
Okay.
Jordan, this
Yes.
was a fun battle. I will give you a weapon tap.
edit in like a ching type of sound.
Alright, ching. Feel free to vote.
I mean, I know how I'm voting.
Well, there you
Start us off.
I wonder if anybody else is going to have similar rationale. I feel like this goes to Thor, only because Thor is entirely God, and Raiden is still partially human. Raiden exists in a universe that is really not supernatural.
Oh, it's supernatural.
Well, okay, but I still
Not
feel
magical.
I still feel Thor has the upper hand. I feel like Thor has access to amounts of electricity that Raiden has not encountered or even could not encounter in his universe, and he can use that to overwhelm any of Raiden's systems. Even if that's not an option, I feel like Thor can just target Raiden's like biological head and nervous system, like the biological parts of this that exist, and he can still damage those. Raiden is shockingly fast. I haven't heard anything to say that Thor cannot be equally fast. He can imbue himself with the abilities of lightning, which is much faster than Mach 1.
No, I want to go next.
Oh, okay. I thought you were at something.
It doesn't sound like Raiden can injure Thor in a lethal way, so I vote Thor.
So, similar vein, I'm voting for Thor, but it's related to my last question for Jordan. Control over electricity. The innate nature of human beings is that we are electricity. Like, that's what runs our nervous system. It's a low level. But being the god of thunder, having full control over electricity, it's the reason I asked about the power source for specifically Raiden, because if it was something like plasma energy or liquid or whatever, the argument could be made that he would still operate without it. But the fact that it's RoboCop-esque, where it's still flesh living, causing it to go, that means that he has an innate weakness to electricity, while Raiden can redirect it. Thor having control over it means that he could essentially drain the electricity from Raiden, completely shutting down his body. So my vote is for Thor based on that alone.
That's some deep shit right there.
I would like to go next.
He can just control the electrons in the body and shut them
Joe,
down.
take your turn to talk.
Yeah.
I am actually going to be voting Raiden.
Ooh.
I feel like moving at the speeds that he would be moving at, Thor has never fought anything probably that moves quite at those speeds and in those ways. And I feel like he probably also wouldn't have ever fought anything that could absorb electricity and throw it back at him, which would be coming also extremely fast. And I feel like there might be some way in which Raiden could get in close. I don't think that like the up close and personal thunder is going to matter as much. And if Raiden is very good at hand-to-hand combat and can get in close and can move at Mach 2 around him, I feel like that's going to be enough that he can wear him down with a sword and eventually get that kill in there. I don't think like minute control of electricity, I feel like that's going to be too hard to do in the middle of battle. I think because Thor also isn't necessarily, I imagine he's a brawler. I mean, he's a Norse god. It's not like he's going to be trying to outthink his opponent. He's going to be trying to out-brawl his opponent. And so for that reason and that reason alone, I think Raiden is going to be thinking more tactically. And I think from that, he is going to end up being able to win a war of attrition against Thor, because Raiden also is basically immortal. He doesn't have a power source. He can, he's a cyborg, So I don't know. That's where I'm voting.
It's a fair point.
That's a good argument.
Very good argument. Probably the best argument we've heard so far.
Yep.
So it's in favor of Raiden.
One thing I will say is we have established that Raiden's main weapon is a sword. And one of the things that Jordan said about Thor is one of the few times we see him take damage is with a sword. Mm-hmm. But I will counter that damage was done by Chaos Blades. These are not just normal man-made blades. These are
primal weapons.
to kill gods.
These are divinest weapons.
And it still only did superficial damage to Thor. I don't see Raiden even getting any damage in on Thor with his weapons. I gotta give this one to Thor.
Thor redeems the loss of Kratos to Lanky Kong from a previous tournament. We see Thor move on to the next round.
Who is he taking on?
Pac-Man.
It's worth noting, I knew that Raiden was going to lose. I just wanted to give him some defense that, like, I don't think it was as one-sided as it was being made out.
Oh, this is a difficult one.
Yeah, that's a really good argument.
That was a very good argument.
Well, folks, come back next time.
I really hope it is a not eating contest.
Because I think,
I mean, that could go either way.
yeah, this is going to be a difficult one.
I think it should be a contest while drunk. So it should be.
Ooh.
Drinking contest.
Come back next time for Riku and Geralt.
Our other wild card.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.